On June 12, 2025, India witnessed one of the worst air tragedies in decades. Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner headed to London, crashed just 32 seconds after takeoff from Ahmedabad. Out of 242 people on board, only one survived. The aircraft also struck a college building on the ground, taking 19 more lives, taking the total death count to 260. Just 1 month later, a preliminary investigation report was released by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. And while it doesn't answer everything, what it does reveal is shocking and honestly hard to believe. Let's break it down. What the report tells us about the crash. According to the preliminary report, Flight 171 took off from Ahmedabad at 1:38 p.m. local time. The takeoff started normally, but within seconds, disaster struck. Here's the key timeline in Universal Time, which is 5.5 hours behind Indian time. At 08 hours, 07 minutes, 37 seconds UTC, plane starts speeding up on the runway. At 08 hours, 08 minutes, 39 seconds UTC, plane takes off. At 08 hours, 08 minutes, 42 seconds UTC, hits takeoff speed, but both engine fuel switches are suddenly flipped from run to cutoff. Pilots quickly flip both switches back to run, trying to restart the engines and send a Mayday distress call. At 08 hours, 09 minutes, 11 seconds UTC, the plane crashes into a nearby building. In just 32 seconds, everything went from normal to catastrophic. And it all started with those two fuel switches being flipped off. What are these switches and why are they important? Every aircraft engine has a fuel control switch. Run means fuel is flowing to the engine. It stays on. Cutoff means the fuel supply is stopped. The engine shuts down. Think of it like turning off the fuel tap in a car while you're speeding on the highway. Now here's the scary part. These switches are not easy to move accidentally. They have to be pulled up first before they can be turned. They're spaced apart, and they're protected by small guards to prevent mistakes. In short, it takes a clear and deliberate action to flip them. Yet in this case, both were flipped off within 1 second. That's not just rare, it's almost unheard of. What the pilots said in the final moments. The aircraft's black box, recovered from the crash site on June 13th, contains voice recordings from inside the cockpit, and what it picked up is haunting. After both engines failed, one pilot can be heard asking, "Why did you cut off?" The other replies, "I didn't." That's it. No explanation, no argument, just confusion, right before impact. It raises a huge question. If neither pilot flipped the switches, then what did? What happened next? Emergency systems activated. After the fuel was cut off and the engines shut down, the plane had no power. But the Dreamliner has backup systems. First, a small emergency propeller called the Ram Air Turbine, or RAT, automatically popped out from the plane's body. It spins using the outside air to generate just enough electricity for basic systems, like controls and radios. Second, a smart engine system called FADEC tried to restart the engines. When the pilots moved the switches back to run, Engine 1 started to come alive, but Engine 2 didn't recover, and within seconds, the plane slammed into the ground. What the report doesn't explain. Now, here's the part that the report doesn't answer, and it's the biggest mystery of all. How did both fuel switches get flipped to cutoff at the same time? Was it pilot error? Was it a technical fault? Was it something no one has seen before? No clear answer yet. Even more curious, the report brings up a 2018 warning from the U.S. aviation body, FAA. It warned that on some Boeing aircraft, the locks on fuel switches might wear out over time. And guess what? The Dreamliner has the same switch design. But here's the twist. That FAA warning wasn't mandatory, so Air India never checked these switches. And now, there are some claims that those could have contributed to a deadly crash. So what happens now? The crash investigation into Air India Flight 171 is still underway, and final report can take up to a year to release. Investigators from India's AAIB are working alongside experts from the USNTSB, Boeing, GE, and Air India to uncover all possible causes. They're exploring whether the fuel cutoff switches failed mechanically, if the design has flaws, whether a software glitch could have triggered them, or if a human error, intentional or accidental, played a role. Boeing has confirmed it's fully cooperating, and Air India is already inspecting its entire 787 fleet and tightening its safety checks. Every angle is being looked into,